Hello aspirants and welcome again to Legacy IAS Academy. We are bringing this video for you in order for you to understand as to how you should prepare the current affairs part for Indian economy. As the prelims are fast approaching, we will consider specifically the prelims area, but of course it will be helpful for your mains as well. So let's get started with respect to Indian economy's approach for the current affairs. So the very first thing to understand about any subject specifically for Indian economy is the syllabus. What is the exam syllabus? Now we all know that UPSC does not help us much in the syllabus with respect to the manner in which they have written it. So for example, your prelims syllabus for current affairs mentions current affairs or news of national and international importance. That's all it mentions. So if you are saying news of national and international importance, now how do I identify which news we are talking about? As a result of which, when you are talking about the exam syllabus, it's not just the prelims syllabus that you have to have a look at, you also have to have a look at the mains syllabus as well. Right? Now, the thing over here is that prelims syllabus and main syllabus, they can both enforce or complement each other. Right? So, you will need to take into consideration even the mains syllabus as well. Now, even if you take that syllabus into consideration, still you will find only few words. For example, inclusive growth, self-help groups, so on and so forth. Then from that, how can you extrapolate all the topics that can be asked in economy? So in order to be able to do that, you will also have to have a look at the PYQs or the previous year question papers. Now when you have a look at the previous year question papers, you will understand the topics, the themes on which the questions are being asked. So when you take the topics and the themes, along with it, on which the questions have been asked, along with it, you add the syllabus of the prelims and the mains. That's what gives you a comprehensive syllabus of economy for UPSC Civil Services examination. So doing this exercise will get you the entire syllabus for Indian economy. Now this entire syllabus, we actually break it down into micro level topics. As you can see one sample over here, if you talk about the economic measurements, you talk about the national income. So what is included in national income? The national income itself, the real national income, the nominal national income, calculation of the national income, right? Then national income, or you can say GDP, GNP, NDP, NNP, then you have GDP at factor cost, at market price, relationship between the two, then GDP at PPP, purchasing power parity, what is it, how to calculate, what are the methods, what are the components, all these things become a part of that particular topic, right? So now we are talking about with respect to current affairs, but I am giving you all static topic. Now how does it work? What we have to do is, once you identify what all are the static topics that you have to study, then only you will be able to study the current affairs of it. I hope that's clear. So you have to know the entire syllabus, based on which you can identify the areas where the current affairs, the areas for which the current affairs will be relevant. So now you know that, for example, if India, let's say it was in news that India became the 4th largest economy of the world. So if GDP wise we became 4th largest, so that article becomes important for you, right? You will know that India has become 4th. You should know that India overtook Japan and become 4th. You should know that just ahead of us is now Germany. You should roundabout know what the GDP of India is. Exact figures, $4.187 trillion is not required, but a ballpark figure should be known. But at the same time, since GDP can be based on PPP and non-PPP, you should know whether are we talking about in terms of PPP or not. Because in 2021, there was a question statement of UPSC which consisted of that India is fourth in the world with respect to GDP PPP, which is incorrect. India has been third in the world with respect to GDP PPP since 2009. So now when India has become fourth, how has India become fourth? Without considering the PPP, India has become fourth. So this is in news. So you will have to study this particular thing. You can also see inflation. Inflation also is a chapter in your static portion. So any news with respect to inflation? As of now, inflation is at a very low point and it is the lowest in the last 6 quarters. It is going on declining. So it is also in news. A couple of years back it was increasing and increasing. So again it was in news. In fact, in mains the questions was asked. So all these static, basically remember the static topics form the basis of your preparation. You need to study that, attend the classes, read it, revise it and understand it. And utilizing that, you come across the current affairs news that might be there. So I hope that is clear, that we have understood that the syllabus is going to play the most important part in order for you to understand what questions can be asked and what news to be read or not. Next is the PYQ. Now when it comes to PYQ, there are different approaches to PYQ. I asked the students, the day they are starting their preparation for UPSC, I asked them to go through the PYQ. But at the same time, when the prelims are approaching, I ask them again to go through PYQ. Now, why is that the case? Because there are manners in which you can approach the PYQs. The very first time when you start your preparation, you are required to go through the PYQ in a very superficial, no, I won't say superficial, but in a very limited manner. You simply have to see the question, see the options, look at what is the correct option, and then simply move ahead to the next question. You don't have to delve into the understanding of the question, being able to answer it, explanation, anything like that. Then what is the use of this? The use of this is to understand what kind of questions are being asked, what type of questions are being asked, how are the questions being asked, what is the pattern of the questions that are being asked. Are the questions too factual? Are they implementation based? So on and so forth. You learn so much about your preparation, about your question paper just by going through the PYQs. So any one of you might be starting for 2027 as well. So you have to go through the PYQs. Others who are about to give the prelims exam this year, you now have to dig deep into it. So let us understand, just few months before prelims, what should be the way in which we should approach the PYQs. Few months before prelims, which is the present stage, you have to go through the questions, you have to go through the options, and of course you should be able to answer these questions, and also you need to read the explanation that is there. This is the bare minimum. In addition to that, you should also be reading about the other options which were incorrect, because next year or in this year UPSC may not give you, of course it will not give you the exact same question, but it can give you question based on the options that were given previously. It can give you question based on the same theme, but a completely different question altogether. For example, if the question is about, let's say, Be Ready Index of World Bank in the previous year, this year they can ask about some other report of some other institution, or with respect to World Bank they can ask some other thing as well. The theme gets repeated, right? So theme wise UPSC does repeat the question. There has been instances wherein the question also seemed to be almost the same, but not entirely. For example, the question with respect to which of the countries do not open to the Mediterranean Sea. So that question has come, similar question which could be solved based on each other's knowledge has come 2 times, but the theme definitely does get repeated, as a result of which your PYQ plays an exceptionally important role. Let's move ahead. The next thing is the test series and the current affairs quizzes. So in test series also the current affairs are covered. So you have to give these test series. In fact, if you give the test series, right? If you give the test series holistically, comprehensively, and when I say give, it's not just ticking the answers, moving ahead, giving the next question. No. What you have to do is, you first give the test. In fact, before that, what do we follow? First, you will have to revise with respect to the syllabus for the test. Then you have to give the test. After the test, there will be discussion. You have to attend the discussion. Then you have to read the entire explanation, etc., which will be there. So this is which we follow, and this is what you should do. If you do this for all the tests that are being conducted in the test series, you should be able to solve 30 to 40 questions. That's a very conservative number. 30 to 40 questions you should be able to solve just by the basis of the knowledge of the test series questions itself. But remember, you will also read about the other options as well as the explanation. So this is the importance of it. In addition to that, every day and every week when the current affairs is being given, there are current affairs questions along with it. So please don't forget to solve those questions as well. If you do this much, it is more than sufficient practice for your UPSC prelims. I hope that's clear. Let's now move ahead. What are the sources that you should refer for current affairs of Indian economy? So the very first thing, the newspapers, very, very important. Now the top two newspapers here are the Hindu and the Indian Express. But when it comes to Indian economy, there are other sources or other sources of newspaper that become important. One is the Economic Times. The other is the Live Mint that is there. So these two sources also become important. Please keep that in mind. Anyhow, in our current affairs magazine, we do incorporate these sources as well. Now, in addition to this, there are certain other sources I will give you with qualifying arguments, right? One is the Yojana and the Kurukshetra magazine. These should be your secondary sources. When you are thorough with other things, then you can go to these sources. They are specifically mains oriented sources, and these are your secondary sources is what I would like to call them. Then you have the Press Information Bureau of India that is there. So PIB releases hundreds of notifications every day. Of course, you don't have to do them. Only those 2, 3 or few of them which are relevant for UPSC civil services examination every single day, only them you have to do, right? So what have we done so far? The newspapers, the PIB, right? Now in this, if you are referring newspaper, so newspaper plus PIB, or instead of that, if you want a very straightforward approach, you can refer to the current affairs magazine that is there. The current affairs magazine comprehensively covers multiple newspapers, including these newspapers which I have mentioned over here, along with the PIB, etc. Everything gets covered. So with a minimum amount of time, with very less amount of time left, if you are lagging with respect to your preparation, just simply pick up the current affairs monthly magazine and start your preparation. But in addition to all that, specifically in economy, there are two very important documents that you have to study. There is no other way about it. One is the economic survey and the other is the budget. The budget and the economic survey plays a very, very important role. There are two importance of this. One, there can be direct questions that can be asked in UPSC from economic survey or budget. Direct question, factual question, trend-based question, or even concept-based question. And keep in mind, economic survey every now and then comes up with new terminologies, phrases like the twin deficit challenge, like India being the net exporter of water. These are all the language or the phrases of the economic survey of the past. You can of course utilize them in your mains answers as well, but they can play a very important role in your prelims as well. So economic survey is the most important document, but of course budget is also important. Why it's important? Various schemes, the schemes which are mentioned here, the allocation, increase, decrease, remain the same, the scheme discontinued, new schemes coming up, all those schemes become important for your preparation, right? So these two documents holds a lot of importance, and economic survey will be released on 31st January and budget will be released on 1st of February, couple of months before your examination. So you have to go through that. We'll have the special sessions for these, so stay tuned for that as well. Now the question is, how do you study economic survey and budget? They are humongous document with huge number of papers in it or pages in it. So you can simply refer to the summary. Legacy IAS Academy also brings the summary. The summary of economic survey and budget of 50-55 pages each should be more than enough for you to study or prepare for economic survey and budget. And based on that, in the test series, questions will also come. So we will ensure that you are thorough with your preparation. Now next, there are certain key principles that you have to follow in order to score well. The very first thing is regular and consistent revision. That is very important. This I'll just simply browse through quickly over this, because this is not much of a discussion. This is something that we need from your end, that you have to regularly and consistently revise. One more thing is, you should have proper structured notes. Now sometimes what happens is, you might be reading current affairs from the newspaper, then how do you make notes of it? You may not have notes, you might have left and forgot it or not made notes of it. So no matter what the source you're referring, there needs to be proper notes that needs to be made. Now note making does not necessarily mean every single time you're writing every single thing by your hand. The notes can be electronically, digitally also made. It can be part of it, can be handwritten, and a part of it can be underlining, highlighting, so on and so forth. So you have to have structured notes. Then your focus has to be on the core areas. Now remember, just because I'm saying that your focus has to be on the core areas does not mean that you will leave the other areas out. Absolutely not. No one is saying that. You have to do everything no matter what. Because UPSC, in a funny way, people also call UPSC as the unpredictable public service commission, because you cannot as such predict UPSC. Right? But of course, at the same time, we should be smart and look at the trends as well. So looking at the trends, looking at the themes, looking at the questions that have been asked, we will focus on the core area, but we will not leave any of the topic, subtopic, or even the micro topic unread, unstudied, or unrevised. I hope that's clear. So this is focus area. You have to focus on certain core areas. Then integrated learning needs to happen. Of course, we all believe in integrated learning. When you're studying for prelims, mains are getting studied at the same time, vice versa. Also, when you're studying for current affairs, static also gets studied, because in current affairs magazine specifically, the static portion of that current affairs news related or body, organization, etc. is also talked about. But remember, there might be slight difference when you start full-fledged, which you might have started now, full-fledged prelim studies. For example, I'll give you an example. If you are reading an article from a current affairs magazine, an article on polity or economy, let's keep specific to economy. If you are reading an economy based article over here, let's say the article is 2.5 pages. Now if you are doing prelims based studies, so only half of the page might be essential, right? The remaining half would be challenges, pros, cons, advantages, solutions, way forward, etc. As such will not be required, but the provisions, the facts, the concepts, etc. would definitely be required over here. So that is the time frame wherein the integrated study might take us back seat, and you would be then focusing specifically on prelims based approach. Then the mock test and the previous papers, these are non-negotiable. You have to give mock test, and please do not run behind 10 different test series, right? Pick up one. So we are running one test series. You are giving those test series. Pick that up. Revise it, what the syllabus is. Give the test, right? Then after the test, attend our discussion sessions. After that, you have to read the entire paper again along with the explanation in order to get more knowledge from it. You might have left the question, so you will know. You might have got it wrong, so you will get to know. You might have sometimes got it right also, but because of incorrect logic. So all those things will be checked. And if you have anyhow got it right, it's simply as a revision. So you have to please revise the test paper as well. So you have to give the mock test, and of course we expect you to have gone through minimum 10 years of the PYQs for prelims. Then based on that, the self-assessment, yes, based on the marks where you are performing well, not performing well, you can take mentorship sessions, you can meet the mentors, the faculties, and discuss with them as well. And you should have a balanced study routine. You cannot have a study routine where you are studying for 16 hours, you study for 2 days, then you fall sick. No one wants that. Have a balanced study routine for yourself, which is not too saturated as such. I hope that's clear. Now if we talk about the focus area, an example I had given, for example, the banking structure of India. So RBI is very, very important in banking sector, and you have the different banking sector, banking structure, this particular banking structure wherein you have the commercial banks, the scheduled commercial, non-scheduled commercial banks. Then you have the development bank, urban cooperative, or the cooperative banks, right? Under development banks you have NABARD, this, that, so many factual things are there. So this becomes a very high potential topic for your prelims. In the same manner, in economy you have the financial market, public finance, taxation, inflation, you have national income accounting, agriculture. These are the topmost chapters that you have to go through in detail. These will give you 80% of the questions. I hope that's clear. But don't leave out the other things. Now let us see what kind of questions are asked by UPSC and where are they getting picked up, right? So we have understood from where to study, what are the sources, what should be done, but to what level we have to study, and what we have to study when we see a news. And we will also see from what news, what kind of question UPSC is giving. So let us get started with the sample questions from UPSC itself. So here the source is the Hindu. Now in the Hindu newspaper, it's December 17, 2024. So that means the 2025 last year's aspirants should have studied this news, because you have to study. Yes, let me tell you this also. You have to study about 13 months of current affairs. Has the UPSC mentioned it? No. This is just generally people do for 1 year. This is just 1 month extra that we talk about. So what you do is, if your exam is in May, so you should be studying from April. Let's say for example 2026, May exam is there. So April 2025 to April 2026 is the current affairs that you have to study. If you are being thorough with the current affairs so far, you can go 1, 2, 3 months back also, but this is the bare minimum that you should be doing. So this falls well within the ambit of the 2025 students. Let us see what the news is. The news says about 20% of AIF. What are AIF? Alternate investment funds. So about 20% of alternate investment fund money used to circumvent laws, says SEBI's Ananth Narayan. Now SEBI is the Securities Exchange Board of India. It's the regulator of the capital market. It's the regulator with respect to the various funds, venture capital, hedge funds, bonds, etc. All this market that are present. So the alternative investment fund is also regulated by SEBI. Now its representative, Mr. Ananth Narayan, is saying that about 20% of this alternate investment funds money has been used for what? Circumventing the law. Circumventing means sidestepping the law. This is the news. Now if this is the news that comes in front of you, what do you think should you study? Let me tell you. You can yourself can give the answer here. First thing you will study is, boss, what is this AIF? Means what is this alternate investment funds, right? So what is alternate investment fund? Then what are the categories of alternate investment funds? What are the examples of alternate investment funds? These things you will study. In addition to this, you will also study about SEBI. SEBI, what is SEBI? What are the functions of SEBI? Is it a statutory organization or not? Yes, it is a statutory organization under the SEBI's Act. So it is a statutory organization, right? These are the things. What are the markets? What are the things that it regulate? These are the things that you will study. Is that clear? Now let us see. And it's not that I am seeing it in the hindsight after looking at the question. No, even your mind will tell you that this is what you have to study. Now that we have understood what to study, let us see what the question was all about. So UPSC in 2025 asked the question on alternate investment fund. So this is the question. With respect to investments, consider the following. One is your bonds, second hedge funds, third stocks, fourth venture capitalists. What's the question? The question asks, how many of the above are treated as alternate investment funds? That means AIF. And what did we say that we should study? We should study what is AIF, what are the categories, and what are the examples. So based on the example directly, the question is being asked, right? So you should be easily be able to answer this. Now what are alternate investment funds? To briefly tell you, see, there have been investment funds which are traditionally present. So the new investment funds which are different from the previous traditional investment funds are basically the alternate investment funds. They may have higher risk, higher returns. They are not the traditional ones. That's why they are called as the alternate investment funds. So you have hedge funds, for example. This is a pillar, you hedge it, means you cut it. So hedge funds, what they do, assume this to be risk. Hedge funds lower the risk or cut the risk. So here buying and selling of risk takes place. This is a hedge fund. Venture capital is used for the startups. Venture capital is an alternate investment fund. The correct answer here is B2 only. But the idea that you should get from here is how to study. At the same time, you should also be going through any annual report or indices or report specifically that is brought out by the government or the government organization, ministries or the bodies. So with respect to economy, which is the most important, RBI and SEBI and Niti Aayog is also there. So RBI releases its annual report every single time. Now this is the excerpt of the annual RBI report, in which RBI mentioned its earnings from the foreign sources, from where all RBI gets its earning. It mentions the foreign currency assets, right? Earning from foreign currency assets, interest, discount, exchange, gain, loss, capital gain, loss on securities, earning from foreign currency assets as percent of average foreign currency asset. All these are its foreign sources of earning. In the same manner, RBI also mentioned its earning from the domestic sources. For example, earning from rupee securities and discounted instruments, interest on liquidity adjustment facility, marginal standing facility, all these particular things. So everything is mentioned over here from wherever RBI has gained the money or earned the money, right? You don't even have to remember the numbers. It's not asked, will not be asked. It is too factual. So all you have to remember what are the sources of RBI's earning and what question is asked in current affairs. Let's have a look. Which of the following are the sources of income for the Reserve Bank of India? Is that clear? So now, buying and selling of government bonds? No. Pension fund management? No, it is not. Nowhere pension fund management is written. So 3 becomes incorrect. This is gone. I think yes, and this is also gone. Now, buying and selling of government securities? Yes, it does that. Buying and selling of foreign currency? It is mentioned multiple times. So yes, it does that. Lending to private companies? No, it does not as such lend to private companies. So any option which has 4th is also incorrect. The correct answer can be either this or this. So it depends. Printing and distributing currency notes? Yes, it can earn money from that also. So D becomes the correct answer, and it is already given in the table given by the RBI. Now, both the questions of 2025, this question is also for 2025. Let us see. So there has been a news in the Indian Express. Shun, take, make, dispose attitude to move towards circular economy is what is being said by Bhupendra Yadav. Now, who is this Bhupendra Yadav? You don't have to worry about the name of the person, you have to worry about the designation of the person. Now this person is basically Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So someone who's the Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change coming and saying certain thing, talking about a circular economy, don't you think this becomes important? Absolutely. If Nirmala Sitharaman, who is the finance minister as of now, so more important thing is the designation of finance minister. If finance minister comes and gives a particular concept tomorrow, won't that become important? Of course it will become. So he talked about the circular economy and this was in news. And what is the question that is asked? Let's have a look at here. Circular, they simply started talking about circular economy. Circular economy reduces the emission of greenhouse gases. That is correct. Circular economy reduces the use of raw materials as inputs. That is correct. Circular economy reduces wastage in the production process. That is correct. Which of the following is correct in respect to the above statements? Both statement 2 and 3 are correct. Yes. And both of them explain statement 1. That's all. And to get this answer, even if you have read this heading, it's more than enough. Shun, take, make, dispose, right? So basically talking about recycling of the waste, reusing of the waste, so on and so forth. Circular economy, whatever is you are using, you recycle it, bring it back into the economy and reuse it. What is that? That is circular economy. Just by the heading, you can solve the entire answer over here. So I hope that's clear. So what you should do is, I hope the sources are clear. Now you need to understand that whenever there is a news, you need to know about that particular thing, the conceptual clarity of the topic, right? This is all that you have to do. Questions are only that. Before we leave, I'm going to tell you one additional thing over here. Also, UPSC in 2016-17 used to ask a lot of indices, reports, etc. Then it reduced. Now last year, again it started asking. So if you are reading any report or indices, be it of economy or any other, but specifically for economy, you should know who brings this out, as in which organization, where that organization is headquartered, who are the top countries, is India a member of that organization or not? If yes, is India a founding member? Is India in the report? What is India's ranking? Has it increased? Has it reduced? Has it remained the same? The criteria based on which the report is given, and what other reports and indices is brought out by this particular organization. If you do this, you don't have to do anything else. In this article, you should be able to solve any question that is asked on reports and indices. So this is how you should study for your current affairs, for Indian economy. Wish you all the best. Thank you.